Back on Get Up, and one of the trends we've seen this offseason, big money being doled out to quarterbacks. First, Aaron Rodgers, after weeks of speculation, he re-ups with the Packers. His new deal is 3 years. It's worth over $150 million. And then Deshaun Watson traded from Houston to Cleveland and promptly gets a 5-year, $230 million contract, which includes a nearly $45 million signing bonus. And so the question is, could Lamar Jackson be next? He's currently slated to make just $23 million this upcoming season in the last year of his rookie deal. Speaking of this at the owners' meetings, here was his head coach, John Harbaugh.
When we get back, maybe another conversation will be had. When we get back in April, possibly. I assume, with Lamar, you never know. I mean, it's not really just in the forefront of his mind whenever I talk to him. I think he is planning on something being done. We're planning on something being done. I'm confident it's going to happen.
So isn't that interesting? And again, Diana, you are just back from the owners' meetings, and we're all sitting here saying, why aren't the Ravens getting this deal done with Lamar? Maybe we're looking at that backwards.
Yeah, because Lamar Jackson is doing nothing to get this done at this point. There's no sense of urgency coming from him, which how many times have we seen situations where quarterbacks right now, let's just use this for an example, Kyler Murray in Arizona, right? They want to get this deal done now. They want to get that money secured and move on, especially looking around at all the quarterbacks right now getting paid. The market is set really well at this point. Why not move on and get this done? And the sense I'm getting here is the Ravens, they're sitting back and just waiting for Lamar to step up and step forward and say, all right, I'm ready to do this. Let's negotiate.
And so has the sitting back and waiting approach that Lamar Jackson himself seems to be taking, Mike Tannenbaum, has that been the right or wrong decision for him?
Not only has it been right, Greeny, he's going to go down as an unbelievable player and a Hall of Fame agent. And here's why. If we're having this conversation 2 weeks ago, we're saying, $45 million a year, about $115 guarantees, Aaron Rodgers. Well, the world has changed. Deshaun Watson got a fully guaranteed $230 million. Deshaun Watson walks into John Harbaugh's office, puts his feet up on the desk and says, hey, coach, I will not ask for $1 more than what Deshaun Watson get. However, I am not going to take $1 less. Here is the bill. I would love for you guys to pay it. If you don't, that is fine, because we just saw the Saints, the Falcons, all want to have Deshaun Watson. I am good. That is the number. If you would like to pay it, we could sign it.
And so to be clear, sneaky big news, we could almost call it, that maybe the Deshaun Watson contract in Cleveland changed a lot of things for a lot of people and a lot of teams, yes?
Unbelievably, when you talk to people around the league, Russell Wilson in Denver, and then you think about Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, Justin Herbert at the Chargers, there is a massive change in the quarterback market, and the eyes of the football world are going to watch what happens with Lamar Jackson to see if what Deshaun Watson did was aberrational or is it a new trend. And as the graphic shows, the average per year has coalesced around a number, but the guarantees are massively different, and that's what's hugely consequential. So if Lamar Jackson gets $230 million in guaranteed, what do you think Kyle Murray's going to ask for? And Russell Wilson basically has a blank check. Denver gave up multiple picks to get Russell Wilson. They have to get him extended. Everybody's watching what happens in Baltimore, and Deshaun Watson truly may have changed this market forever.
And so then let me ask the player in this conversation. Jeff Saturday, how are you feeling about this?
I'm nervous. Listen, Mike T's telling you everything that's facts, right? Like, but you got to be, the agent or Hall of Fame agent, you got to make the deal. So get in there and make the deal. Get in there and go put your feet up. Like, let's get this thing going. I think I'm more concerned about Lamar Jackson's health than he is. I mean, this guy's been hit over 850 times since he's come into the league. I'm not saying he's more prone to injury than anybody else, because that would be outside of what I'm trying to say here. But the potential is always greater because of how many times he's asked to put the ball in his hands, whether it's running or passing. So when I look at this, I can't get to the complex fast enough to get this deal done. $230 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed. I think he'll all be good. Generational wealth created, everything. You're at the right organization with the right staff. Let's get it done, though, man. Let's hurry to go become that Hall of Fame agent like Mike T's saying.
Let's see if he's able to get that deal done. Spoken like an offensive lineman. That's extremely well said, Jeff Saturday. Okay, I mentioned that might have been sneaky big news. Here's some real sneaky and potentially big news. Bill Belichick at the owners' meetings was talking the other day, and he was asked about having not yet named a defensive or offensive coordinator. This is what he said.
I'm assuming you're not going to name an offensive or defensive coordinator this year. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not big on titles, so we have jobs to do. We'll do the jobs.
All right, so that's an unorthodox approach, I suppose. Jeff Saturday, how do you feel about that?
I don't love it, not even a little bit. Like, I get you don't have to have titles. The title part I don't really care about. And I've seen, we've seen this from a defensive coordinator side with Belichick before. But again, you're talking about arguably one of the best defensive minds ever to coach. So you weren't really nervous about who was going to finally make the call on defense. Offensively, you have a second-year quarterback who is trying to ascend in this league. They were about 19th or 20th in the league last year. Josh McDaniels, their offensive coordinator, for however long he's been there, left, and he was a steadying force on that offensive side. I question who's going to call the plays. Who's helping with the development of Mac Jones? All of those things give me pause because it's not the exact same as when you're talking about the defensive side because of what Bill has done for so long. So I am concerned. I would like to know a little bit more, and I know they have it in-house. But man, I don't think there's anybody on the staff who's even called offensive plays in a game. That's concerning for me.
Diana, go ahead.
Yeah, Jeff, you know better than anybody that the Patriot way, Bill Belichick craves familiarity. They're going to just keep this in the family. That's what's the comfort space for them. So while you're right, there's probably not an offensive coach who would be deserving or maybe even has the knowledge to be able to call plays at this point.
Right.
But I think from the Patriot perspective, their head coach / GM wants someone he knows and can probably also have a lot of control over.
Well, he's got Joe Judge, who was a long time on his staff, and Matt Patricia, long time on his staff. Mike T., how do you see it?
Well, I'm a two-time graduate of the Bill Belichick Titleist program, so he doesn't believe in titles. But here's another really interesting dynamic here. If I'm Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, I know that Bill Belichick is closer to the end of his career than the beginning of it. And I look at someone like Matt Patricia and Bill Belichick. Coach Belichick was the head coach in Cleveland, didn't work out, spent a year with the Patriots as assistant, then under Coach Parcells at the Jets. The rest is history. Matt Patricia didn't work out in Detroit. Now he's back. He works on contracts. He's worked on the defensive side of the ball. Now he's on the offensive side of the ball. When you start connecting the dots, to me, I don't think it's unrealistic to think that he may be a meaningful candidate to one day replace Coach Belichick.
It's an interesting way of looking at it, and it may be true. But as far as the immediate development of a young quarterback, which at this moment in time, Jeff Saturday, is the most important thing they can do, just to give you the final word, this is some concern to you?
Absolutely. And you said it best. You got Mac Jones, who you're expecting development and growth. You don't have a great wide receiver core. You've lost some offensive linemen that you've traded away. Like, you look at this football team, you need to take strides offensively. You need one voice speaking to that quarterback. I just question where that's going to come from right now.
Tom Brady was their quarterback the last time they won a playoff game, so we will see